All right. Vevor's wire stripping machine. This is those kinds strippers that can handle very big diameter cables and can be used with the electrical machine or being drill or by hand. Some gloves. This is clean inside work. Also parts for the big diameter cables, so I'm installing this to that machine, and spare very sharp steel, carbon steel blade. Then handle, and I can show you. This is the what it looked like from inside. Somewhat pretty good covered package. So very few, hopefully, who order these things will have damaged package, because this is full of this foam. So the handle and the machine itself. And by the way, I am not sponsored by Vevor. This is my very own money that I have used to buy this, because I have this small one that can handle many of these diameters, but I did not have that big one that can handle these. This is not even the biggest one that I got, but I will drive and show you what kind of machine this bigger Vevor is. And I'm not using my drill, I'm using my very own hand. And this is the, well, basically it's not design flaw or anything, but you already can see the problem if you want to use this machine from the table. Well, there is 4 holes that you can lift this machine up that much that this hand crank and your own hand doesn't hit the table or the place where you want to use it. So I will do some wooden block where I can use this by the hand crank and on the table, that I don't have to do anything, this kind of stupid movements, because of course it will work, but basically I don't want to feed from here or here. I want to see what is going on inside when I'm feeding these cables to the machine. So I probably have to use somewhat bigger wooden block or even metal, but it's much more work to the thing that do very basic stripping. So I'm not using any heavy thing. Only case is if I have like a more than 1 meter long cables. After that it should be this one that weighs more than the thing that you are driving through it. So that is thing that you probably good to have to keep in mind. Yeah, basically this was the first time I did open that box, and what I mean is I already checked that everything is okay, but I want to make a video of this machine and how it will work. And obviously this has this hand crank capability, and you can lift this blade up and down very high, and I mean really high. Only dimensional restrictions are this wideness, and basically this wide cable that goes in. The height is not the limitation, because you can dismantle this top cover make it go how long you want, but the wideness is because you do not have capability to well, basically you have to have a lathe that you can make this wider, but this wide cable that goes in here, that is the main line from the, like some cases, small businesses or even the factory itself. So this can handle very hefty cables. And if you are feeding those to this machine, then I just suggest that you will use some kind of metal block that makes this thing very heavy, that it won't move when you are feeding the cable. But also there is a risk that it will bend this blade if you are not using any kind of these metal guides that will force the cable to go straight. And well, it's basically pretty simple to keep in mind that everything must go straight in, because even if this blade is carbon steel, it else bend slightly or even break immediately if it got these side forces applied to it. Yeah, anyway, I will assemble the block underneath enough height that I can drive this, and I will show you what kind of results I can get from my own cable storage. I want to drive few aluminum cables and few copper cables through it. So, be right back. Right. Box of million screws and one block with some kind of leverage when using this thing. Let's see. Orientation basically doesn't matter, but here is the guiding plate, so keeping that in mind. I think now I have my hand place, and I can use this guiding plate also. Yeah, let's see, is this okay? Yep, won't hit anywhere. That's good. Now I have to check these screws. Let's see. I probably should use Torx, but I think this way too big. This should be star-headed, should be okay. And the color is yellow, which this machine will produce the gold. So basically same color that it is going to produce. Let's see. Well, the assembling itself is nothing special. As long as I can screw this into place. And also it doesn't have to be perfect, because this is not doing heavy duty work. Like so. Underneath, like so. Okay. Now I can show you the assembly. Let's take this assembly parts from the package. Here is very different. These bolts are for the attaching this tool to the anywhere basically, but like already I show you, I'm not using any different styles. There is a spacers there. Here is the one screw that goes here, or where? Oh yeah. This part, this is for the when you are using drilling machine, if you are using. And the black one, which is, let's see, well, it's black one, at it states it's 8.8 grade. So what that means, this is basically normal, only painted black screw. If this would be a really the black one, this would be a 10.8 or even harder grade metal. And next thing we will find these light conditions. we will find anything or something. Yeah, here is one spot that goes with that. Here is the screw. There's the screw. It goes tops of it, and now we can screw this handlebar into place. The way the straight section is. And we will lock this handle tightly in the axle. Okay, and now you can see my hand is way upper than table. Next thing, let's change this guide plate. I rather use the blade than that knowingly destroy that blade, because if the cable is going somewhat wrongly inside that mouth, it can destroy that blade easily. Now that we will use this guide, it will force it go straight, but there is still limitations, but we will see how much it will hinder this. Hopefully not much, and if it's doing that too much, I will make new holes to this plastic piece that I can use that much more higher. But I think it won't be necessary. I don't have that big cables to feed. There's a little bit stiffness in these threads. I use a little bit stuff to lubricate. Much more easier insertion. No, don't see a thing. Of course, I have to lift it up all the way. And basically the way it should be is, if you want, you can use it other way, that it will be outside, but the guiding perhaps should be closer to this these wheels and the blade than the outside, because it can start to do these small movements. It can be used anyway, so the sideness basically can't decide. I will mean this. You can see there is this longer piece that will guide the longer way, these smaller ones, because they can do this swaying way much easier. That's why it's bended inside. And basically the big ones cannot basically do the same, but the sake of the thing, that if the cable start doing swaying, this one is way too close that it can go do anything inside this place where the stripper is hitting the top layer of that cable. So that's why better to be inside than like this outside. You can catch my drift. Okay. Now the test driving itself. I can do it like this way, you can see what's going on. And we will check the height of this, that it won't be too tight. And basically, if you are using this machine outside, remember every thread and basically these sliding surfaces should be covered with some kind of lubrication, just because it's very easy to get rust to accumulate in here. Way much smoother the movement now that it got lubrication. Yeah. There is no basically any rules that applies how high or low this blade must be, but you can measure this thickness that you are feeding to it, that it won't go necessarily inside this, like in this case this aluminum, because you cannot win anything about doing such thing. And here is, by the way, the label that says wire stripping machine model ST25 3.35 kilos. There is a manufacturer and yada yada, serial numbers and stuff. Nothing special. Yeah. You can basically measure it by doing this inserting, and when the blade is hitting the surface you are very near, but after that it will hit you screw few points few turns inside, and after that you can start to use this machine. And let's see. Voila. And we have a nice piece of aluminum without. Well, basically it take, I don't know, does camera see this or not, but small, very small touch to this surface. But better to be somewhat touching the stuff that it won't go through and you have to do everything by hand just because you did not drive through it. And now I have this same caliper stuff, and very easily with one hand. Ta-da! And these cables are from a thick small business cable, meaning it well, it's like a triangle, the shape itself, so that these three phases, 0 and ground, are in one big tube, that they will well, they leave much more smaller space when they are in triangle than round, so that's why these are easy to insert. Because the shape is already that kind that these tooths will take hold of these two sides, and there is one side that goes to the stripper itself, and it will go from start to the end that way, that you can just open it very easily. But like in these smaller ones it's always same hassle. But yeah, now I will get my bigger cables, so I will be back like so. Yeah, and now these are fully copper cables. Let's see what kind of mess this will produce. Okay, it will go through few turns, and let's see. Not enough. Yeah, that is enough. And now you can see why I have this whole block inside here. I mean underneath, that I can keep my hand somewhere, and even I can basically build some kind of guidance behind here that this cable will go somewhat straight. And now the camera itself is in a way. Yeah. Now I can see why the guidance is very let's just say this is not thick enough for that blade to that well, the guidance blade won't hit anywhere, but it start to swirl around. So this why it's very important to keep an eye out that the blade will always be the top, not this side or this side, no anywhere, only till the top. Because if you bend that blade, you are destroying it the way that it will be useless. Yeah, the ending of this would be now nice because this is not straight. I can use basically my hand to guide it. Let's see, so small but little bit tighter. Come on now, don't be shy. Shame these rolling tools don't have this very sharp surface that this would force it through, no matter if the cable is somewhat straight or not. Woo. Oh, all right. I will take somewhat back that up, and there we have it. Oh, like so. Nice. And the second one. And this is the way I told you that the cable starts swaying. This is bad for the stripper itself. But thankfully that blade is not just like, it won't destroy itself so easily, but that is the thing that you should make sure that the cable goes in straight. Yeah. Oh. Like so. And be a reasonable people. When you are stripping, there will be huge pile of this plastic garbage. Dispose them as they should be, not by throwing the stuff to the nature. Garbage disposal unit will take them. happily. And let's see this next one. This is multi-layered ground cable that has this copper outsiding not deep enough. Oh. Let's see. It should have been enough, but it seems this is so soft that it did prevent it go all the way through, at least at the end. Okay. There are few copper, these smaller copper wires are flying off. So this is the reason why you should drive it as deep as possible, but well, use your brains that you won't overboard it. No necessary to do such thing. Well, I will drive it through again. Nobody can stop me. Like so. Copper wiring will drop easily. Well, the smaller ones are in here. I cannot do anything about them. Let's see, the white one. This will broke up these stupid small pieces. I will. Okay, let's use bucket to collect the garbage. Like so. And what about them? These cables also. Now I should use that another machine that I got, and I will use this, that machine, because these are not one, these are few these coppers inside, so that's why I'm not using this machine, only to do these big ones. Few times it seems it's missing the point, but that is only the user who is the handler of the handling that where it will go, that blade. Oh. Few copper stripes. So now the handling of this white cover. Like so. Oh. Okay. Let's see from this angle. Here comes the bad boy. Thick, small business cable. 3 phases, 0 and ground. The ground is circulated around here, so these kind of cables, it says 120 cubic, not cubic, it's this, well, 120 millimeters squared, anyway, big one. Now we will see, can I fit this in here? Answer is a big no. I have to do either take that guiding plate off and feed this through, or I will cut this open myself and drive these separately inside. And these are what it will show, what kind of cables they are when they are out. And as maybe you cannot see it, but this is swirling, meaning this side is not same as is here. So now we can see what this thing can do and react when it's having this kind of feeding inside it. Well, it will swirl itself around, so no worries, it will work. Good thing. Yeah. The opening is always the same hassle. Few times to get through that. Oh, because this is compressed so tightly. A bit more. Okay. Oh. Come on. Okay. It seems it did not go through that middle piece, but well, help me with my foot a little bit. Come on now. Oh. Oh. Okay. aluminium. Okay, so twisted up that. Come on. Well, you have to adjust this thing by hand. Some cases. Well, it went so deep that it did cut these few stripes in the go. Well, nothing new. I did not make this bottom piece all the way good. Ah, well, this explains why it will do what it please. Yeah, so sharp that it did sharpen few pieces of aluminium. So and this is the triangle that I mentioned. You can see the shape. This goes towards the wheels, and this top side will go against the blade. So the side must be straight, or if you put it the wrong way, well, good luck. It won't do any good. Like so. Okay, let's see. Well, this thing works, and by the way, if you have these bigger ones, like I told you, it can fit here. But you have to make sure that this thing is straight. These smaller ones are easy to strip, but basically if you are not using that guiding blade, you have to make sure that it will stay on those wheels, but also you have to, like, there is a few forces that you must be very aware of, that it won't go sideways or start to go swirling around, and how much there is this curvature. The straighter the better, but if there is these twisted cables, that some are, if you are not using this guiding blade, you are in the trouble. But like in my case, I will try a few times to drive without that guiding blade. We will see when this strips open, then I will open this also. But first I will drive through these single ones and then I will process these bigger ones. But anyway, I have few these big sacks full of this stuff. And as we saw, nice thing. Nothing special, but does this stripping way much more efficiently than by your own hand. And when the cable is long enough, well, this thing is a beast. And the smaller one, I think it might be even the same model name, this Vevor, as this one is. But it's much more wider, but not so like it's not tall. But this one is just for these bigger ones only. I'm not using the smaller ones at all. And by the way, you can even make your own wheels to this machine if you have a lathe. But as we saw already, it does its work just fine by its own manufactured wheels. Yeah, basically, if you are garbage collector or I mean recycler, this tool is good to be in your disposal. And like I already said, make sure that you collect your garbage and dispose them as they are meant to be, not at the nature or anywhere else than a garbage bins. Do not start making mess just because you know you can have much more efficiently collected money from the stuff you are collecting and dismantling. Even I use this normal ferrite iron, and when I'm not using it, I mean I will dispose of it. I will use that to gain, they will pay from that basic iron some kind of money per ton of the thing. And same goes aluminium and copper and this brass, and there's lots of stuff. So anyway, that kind of showing the stripping machine. Hopefully you did get a thing out of this, what kind of piece of machinery it is. And like I said, very easy to use, to install. And if you have any electrical machines, this machine can automate somewhat your doing. But remember, the guiding plate or the guiding itself is the major thing, that do not screw it up. You have one spare blade if something goes bad. If you are doing much more these kind of recycling things, well, I can, at least from this machine or construction, I can say it's okay, and I can recommend it, this, at least these big ones, to use. And the smaller caliber cables there is, I can show you one time that machine that I have that do the same thing to these smaller cables as well. And same thing, this hand crank, and can be used with the electrical drill and so on. Yeah. And as you can see, it's ball beared. Will roll around very easily. Yeah. It's little bit not painted at all. There is this rough surface. I think there might be this one coating that prevents it won't rust so easily, but remember, if you are using this outside, like outdoors, so on, spray some kind of coating of oil, or well, not oil. There is a plastic covers that will melt if you are using oil. This can easily destroy these plastics. They are not necessary, but anyway, but the labels itself and so on, that they will stay there. Anyway, nothing harsh chemicals or anything that kind of deal, but it will prevent it rusting. And those ball bearings, they are those models that are covered, so they have this grease inside of them already, so that's not the reason why I'm telling you this. But when you have some machines, remember to maintain them. They are doing work for you, so if you are keeping some kind of maintaining procedures to these machines, they will last very long time. Anyway, that kind of showcase of this machine. See you in next videos. Let's see what I'm coming up next. So bye bye.